I'm trying to get a contract for waterproofing of the roof where the customer wants a very long system life of over 20 years. You see, this is a new high-class commercial complex and the developer does not want any commercial activities to be disrupted because of the failure of the waterproofing system.
Vijay, there is only one solution that will last for even over 20 years. Dr. Fixit FlexShield. This is a membrane made from EPDM.
If I'm not mistaken, EPDM is some form of rubber. Won't it crack in a few years?
Actually, EPDM is a special form of rubber that does not degrade even with aging, UV exposure and weathering.
Then what is the expected life of FlexShield?
This is difficult to predict. But studies have shown that EPDM membranes have a potential life expectancy of over 30 years. You see, hundreds of EPDM installations around the world, which have exceeded 20 years of exposure under various climatic conditions, have not shown any significant signs of degradation.
Well, sir, then I think FlexShield might be the right product for my needs. Can you tell me how to use it?
Let's see how to use Dr. Fixit FlexShield on a flat RCC roof. The application surface should be cleaned to remove all loose material. Test the surface for excess moisture. For this, select an area exposed to direct sunlight and place a plastic sheet of approximate size 50 cm by 50 cm on the surface. Seal the edges properly using masking tape. After approximately 15 minutes, if the plastic sheet remains clear, then the terrace is suitable for the application of FlexShield. However, if the plastic sheet has become opaque with moisture, then wait till the surface is dry. Starting around 30 cm from one edge of the corner rounding or vata, mark a straight line along the length of the terrace, parallel to the parapet wall. The application of Dr. Fixit FlexShield must be started from the lower end of the slope of the terrace, that is the drain end, and proceed towards the higher end. Align the FlexShield roll correctly in the application area. Beginning from the top edge of the corner rounding or vata, unroll this roll of FlexShield. At the other end of the terrace, measure the roll till the top of the corner rounding or vata. Cut the roll at this marked length. If any protrusions are present, FlexShield should be appropriately cut to fit around them. Mark a second line along the second edge of the FlexShield membrane to line out the application area for the first roll. Now fold over half the roll of FlexShield from one end in alignment. Be careful that the alignment does not shift. FlexShield is bonded to the substrate using Dr. Fixit FlexShield bonding adhesive. However, the edges are sealed with Dr. Fixit FlexShield splice adhesive, which is an extra strength adhesive to prevent any seepage from the edges. Stir the bonding adhesive well till it changes into a thick, viscous, brownish liquid of even color and consistency. Pour a small amount of bonding adhesive in the application area. Spread this adhesive in between the two marked lines into a thin, uniform coating. Simultaneously, spread the adhesive on the underside of the flex shield surface as well. Wait for around 10 minutes till the glue becomes tacky. Now carefully fold over the flex shield membrane. Be careful to avoid wrinkles and air bubbles. Press the surface of the flex shield membrane firmly using a floor cleaner with a sponge attachment. Repeat the entire process for the other half of the flex shield membrane. Dr. Fix-It Flex Shield must also be applied on the vertical surfaces like the parapet wall at least up to the vata. Take care to leave at least 50 mm at the termination edges for the splice adhesive. Before laying the next length of flex shield, mark a line on the first membrane at a distance of 50 mm from the edge. This line will be the guide for the overlap margin. Now unroll the next length of the flex shield membrane. Take care to align it carefully with the overlap guideline. After folding over half the length of the membrane, on the exposed underside of the flex shield surface, fix masking tape of 50 mm width. This will ensure that the bonding adhesive is not applied in the overlap area, so that this area can later be sealed with the splice adhesive. You may now fix the next length of flex shield in the same way as the first. Before sealing the overlaps with splice adhesive, clean the overlap area in the lower membrane with emery paper. Now remove the masking tape from the underside of the upper membrane. The two membranes are now ready for splicing. Dr. Fix-It Flex Shield Splice Adhesive is used for splicing the overlaps. This two-component adhesive consists of a cover and an activator. Mix the two in a separate container and stir well. Brush apply this splice adhesive on the two ends of the flex shield surface. Wait for around 10 minutes till the adhesive is tacky. Now seal the edges carefully, pressing down firmly. At the terminations as well, brush apply the splice adhesive on the substrate and the underside of the flex shield surface. Seal the edges carefully. For sealing sharp corners and right angles, use Dr. Fix-It Flex Shield SV grade membrane. This is a thinner membrane which is highly flexible. Use Dr. Fix-It Flex Shield Splice Adhesive to fix this. All vertical surfaces, angles and abutments upstands should be sealed with extra care to ensure perfect bonding. Seal these areas with Dr. Fix-It Flex Shield SV grade membrane. Use Flex Shield Splice adhesive for this purpose. For the drains and grooves, take extra care to seal the edges well. Here also, use Dr. Fix-It Flex Shield SV grade membrane and Flex Shield Splice adhesive.
That was very interesting to watch. Are there any precautions to be taken?
Vijay, just a few simple precautions will ensure that Dr. Fixit Flex Shield gives service for a long time. Ensure that there is no significant moisture content in the substrate. The overlap between two adjacent layers of Flex Shield should be at least 50 millimeters. The last 50 millimeters of the edges and the overlaps should only be terminated with Dr. Fixit Flex Shield Splice Adhesive. Flex Shield must also be applied on the vertical surfaces like the parapet wall at least up to the vata. All drains, grooves, vertical surfaces, angles and abutments upstands should be sealed with extra care using Dr. Fixit Flex Shield SV grade membrane and Flex Shield Splice Adhesive for this purpose.
Does the Flex Shield membrane require maintenance or any treatment to increase its life expectancy?
Not at all. You need general maintenance like sweeping etc. to remove debris.
Okay, then do you give any warranty for Flex Shield?
We normally give 10 years warranty for the Flex Shield material against aging. Now, you must understand that we are only the manufacturers and not applicators. Therefore, we can only warranty that the quality of the membrane meets international standards.
And what international standards does Flex Shield conform to?
Well, Dr. Fixit Flex Shield meets and exceeds ASTM standards. It also conforms to the standards laid down by the RMA Roofing Council of USA.
I also have a similar waterproofing requirement for a large 30-year-old chemical plant. The company is fed up of having to renew the waterproofing system every 5 to 7 years because it disrupts their production. Is Flex Shield resistant to chemicals?
Yes. In fact, this is one of the unique and unmatched properties of Dr. Fixit Flex Shield. It's highly resistant to chemicals and even to fumes of hydrochloric acid, phosphoric acid, etc.
If the Flex Shield membrane gets damaged in use, will we have to redo the complete roof?
Well, first of all, the Flex Shield membrane is quite tough and will not get damaged in normal use. However, it may tear due to some sharp objects, etc. One big advantage of Flex Shield is that it can be easily repaired, even if the membrane is several years old. Just clean around the damaged area with emery paper. Then repair it using Dr. Fixit Flex Shield SV grade membrane and Flex Shield Splice Adhesive.
What about the surface finish? Can the Flex Shield membrane be painted or tiled?
Yes. Acrylic coatings and latex-based paints can be applied on the surface. The surface can also be tiled if you wish.
Aside from concrete roofs, can I use Flex Shield for other applications?
Yes. Flex Shield can be used in all kinds of large commercial roofs and roofs of storage silos, not just of concrete but also of cement and metal sheets. It is also suitable for terrace gardens, basements, foundations and podium slab coverings. Flex Shield has been used successfully all over the world for lining the sides of lakes, ponds, reservoirs, canals, swimming pools and tunnels.
Is Flex Shield expensive to use?
Well, Vijay, considering that the Flex Shield membrane will last for over 20 years, in the long run, it will more than pay for itself. And don't forget that it is the only system that can also resist chemical attack and has several other important benefits that we have just discussed.
Well, sir, I think Flex Shield seems to be the perfect answer to my difficult problem. I'm glad to get one more weapon to help me.
And this is no ordinary weapon.
Thank you very much.
Remember, Dr. Fixit Flex Shield is the most powerful modern weapon in the fight against leaking roofs.